Aloha makako. I am Susan Gorman Chang. I'm the newly elected chair of the CRI, and we are going to open our meeting tonight with our Oli. Please stand.
E ho mai kai ke mahiluna mai e o nā mea huna no e au nā mele e ho mai e ho mai e ho mai e ho mai kai ke mahiluna mai e o nā mea huna no e au nā mele e ho mai e ho mai e ho mai e ho mai kai ke mahiluna mai e o nā mea huna no e au o nā mele e ho mai e ho mai e ho mai e.
Thank you so much. All right, we have next on our agenda, we're going to do introductions. We're going to have each of you introduce yourself, your name, and who you are representing. First, we're going to do here live in the studio, and then we'll do online. I'm Susan Gorman Chang, the chair.
Aloha mai kako o Imilo o Borland ko Inoa no Makalapa Eva Maiau. I represent Native Hawaiian interests here on the committee.
Aloha kako a pau, mai ka pi'ina I ka lai haʻeha I ka lāwelo o lehua ano ai ke aloha. My name is Malia Marquez from Mauna Lua, Hawaii Kai. I represent the native Kanaka of our Aina. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm Mialisa Ores. I'm from Waimanalo, and I represent the community of Oahu. Mahalo.
Aloha kakao. My name is Robert Huber. I represent the CRI as a member of this committee and for Oahu as well as the rest of the United States. Thank you.
Online, please.
Aloha, this is Chris Anton. I'm representing affected family members.
Go ahead, Bill.
Bill South, representing Sierra Club.
Oh, we do not hear. Okay, let's try Michelle.
Aloha kako, this is Michelle Poplar. I represent the Oahu community at large, and I'm also an affected community member.
Let's go for Chris next.
Aloha, this is Chris Anton. I'm representing affected family members.
Thank you, Mariko.
Hi, my name is Mariko Jackson, and I represent the Oahu community.
And Jamie. You need to unmute, Jamie. And I'm so sorry we can't hear you, Jamie. She's representing impacted families, and she is on the continent. And Bill, let's try you one more time.
Yes, Bill South, representing Sierra Club.
Okay, we'll try Jamie one more time.
I'm representing affected family members, and I am on the mainland.
Great, thank you so much. Did I get all of our CRI members?
No, Melody. She's not a member.
No. Yeah. Okay. All right. So before we go into our discussions, I just want to make a brief statement as the new chair, if that's okay, if you'll indulge me a bit. Thank you. So this is my first Olelo broadcast, so please grant me some grace. And I look around and I see the love and support of each CRI member here. and on Zoom, and our community members in the audience and also on Zoom, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to thank the WCCC women here who are doing our awesome tech and have always done such a wonderful job to us, and I really appreciate them. Tonight we have no trauma-informed facilitator or any facilitator at all. I guess I'll step in for that. The EPA paid for Michael Montoya at the December meeting, but did not do so for tonight. And of course, as volunteers, CRI has no funds, so I will try to do the best I can. Perhaps Department of Health can take over paying for a trauma-informed facilitator, since trauma is indeed a public health issue when an entire community has been poisoned. And on February 20th, 2024, Governor Josh Green signed the executive order declaring Hawaii a trauma-informed state. The executive order directs all state departments to collaborate with the Office of Wellness and Resilience to integrate trauma-informed care principles such as safety, transparency, and peer support into our workplace and our services. So I think DOH falls under that. So again, I'll do my best to facilitate tonight. And our first agenda item is going to be who is on the line. And how this came up was in December, and also during the spill, many people, such as Capilina Beach Homes, did not know they were on the Navy water line. Certainly if you're on a base, you know you're on the Navy water line, but people in Capilina Beach Homes were at first told they weren't. There's also restaurants, businesses, and schools, and people don't really know if they're on the Navy water line. We asked the Navy if they could maybe better communicate that, but we really haven't gotten a response, so we decided to ask the Board of Water Supply, and we have Joyce here tonight with us online, how to put an address, whether it's a residence, a school, a business, and see if you're on the Board of Water Supply line. Because if you're on the Board of Water Supply line, then clearly you're not on the Navy line. So we're going to at least educate folks about that. So with that, I will turn it over to Joyce. And again, thank you, Joyce, and everyone at Board of Water Supply. You are our best advocate. Thank you.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Joyce Lay with the Board of Water Supply. I will be sharing my screen now to show how you can check whether you are on our Board of Water Supply system. And typically, I think the best way to check is whether you have a customer water quality report. And you can do so by first going to our Board of Water website, which is here. And actually, before I even do that, can everybody see this screen all right? Should I zoom in a little bit more, or okay?
We can see it. Fine. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so you can go to our Board of Water Supply website at, you just spelled it out, boardofwatersupply.com. When you click enter, you will come to our homepage, and you can find your water quality report by hovering over this water quality tab. And down here, you'll see water quality report. So you click on that, and it sort of goes over what this water quality report does. Essentially, it identifies the sources that are supplying your address, and then report any sort of contaminants that we detect from our regular testing. So here on the right, you'll see a red button saying find your report. So you can click into that. And what you'll see is sort of like a search browser. And from here, down here, it gives you some examples on how you can type in addresses. So for example, I briefly looked up Ala Moana Shopping Center, and like Ala Moana Shopping Center is a really good example because the parcel itself is very large. So sometimes you may have trouble finding the exact water meter or location. So you generally look for the general address. So 1450 Ala Moana Boulevard. So I will copy that. Go back to find your report. And here I will paste that in here and do a search. And you'll see all these different addresses pull up, and these are individual different water quality reports for these addresses. So I can click into this one here, the first one, and it will have this pop up, and you can just say download. And it'll take you to, it'll pop up a new tab. And you can zoom in, let me just zoom in a little bit. And it goes over basically what I just mentioned earlier. So here on the upper left, it'll have the source names, so different sources that are being used to serve this meter. It'll have some information about the different treatments that we use for these sources. For most of the bottled water supplies, drinking wells, it's just just a little bit of chlorination, and that's all the treatment that we have. Some areas, we may have some GAC, granulated active carbon, that is treated, and we'll have that noted as well. So yeah, this is generally goes over all of the testings that we do, some of the detections that we have, and then we have a list of all the acronyms and definitions down here. And then if you don't find your address when you type into here, another option you can do is to write into the Board of Water Supply or even call us. So from this page, you, for some reason, you know, for example, 123 Smith. I don't think this is a real address. So for some reason, like if you're not on our water system, or you're not too sure if it shows up no result, that's okay. You can go to this upper right link that says contact. So you just click on contact. It'll take you to the contact us page, and there's a lot of phone numbers, a lot of emails, but I would say the best email for you to write into or even call is this communications office. This contact us at hbws.org is the best email for you to write in. What you can do is just, for example, so we have, say, a new email. You can just go contact us at hbws.org. That goes to our communications office. You can subject line anything like, am I on BWS water system? And you can just type in address, 123 Smith, as an example. My property on BWS water system. Address is so and so. And then if you can provide us some contact information, so if you have your email, that's great. Well, if you're sending us an email, then we'll have your email address. But if you can also provide us a contact number, that would be also very helpful. So if you can provide us an address, make sure you provide us an address, a contact number, and of course your name would be greatly helpful so that we can know who to address this request to. So these 3 items, send it to our communications office at contactus.hbws.org, and we can look into this and get back to you. Our communications office, I know a lot of you may have worked with Kathleen Bahinui. She's really good. She'll get back to you very quickly. Or you can also, these are lots of different numbers, but I think the best number you can call into is our general line, the 748-5000. And then you can leave a message with our customer care, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. But that is all I have in terms of checking for whether you're on the Board of Water Supply water line. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Joyce. So it sounds like the procedure is put in your address. If something comes up, then you're on it. If it doesn't come up, you would contact probably the Board of Water Supply to find out. So can you put in a restaurant, an address? It's 57 Arizona Memorial Drive. And that's a restaurant near Pearl Harbor, just as an example, to see what comes up. And then do you click search? Okay.
Yeah, so I just clicked search and currently there's no results.
Okay. So I would assume, because it's close to Pearl Harbor, that it's on the Navy water line. But I guess to be totally sure, we would call you, the Board of Water Supply, the number that you, or the email that you just put up there. Okay. All right. And then, so there's the Navy water line, there's the Board of Water Supply. Are there also people on well water on Oahu?
That's being reflected in this search bar?
No. I mean, I guess if someone called you, you would be able to let them know whether they're on the Board of Water Supply, but how would they know if they're on, like, the Navy water supply or well water, I guess? I don't know if you can answer that question.
It's a little more difficult for us to really check who the owners are for the water system. Of course, we don't all the private water system informations we don't really have.
Okay.
But we may have some resources to sort of let us know, at least in some general locations, whether it is Navy or if it is an actual, just a fully private individual's water system.
Okay,
so we
great.
can look that up for you. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to open it. I'm sorry?
Yeah, we'll look into it as much as we can, and then we'll get back to you in the emails or however way you reach out to us, we will respond to you.
Great. Thank you. And I'm going to open it up to questions first, people live, and then on Zoom.
Thank you, Robert Huber. I just want to thank you so much, Ernie Lau, and the Board of Directors for making this website very clear and very easy with a drop and drag to be able to find out if people are on the water line or not. We were very concerned about a child care center up in Red Hill, literally up on the top of Red Hill, and then on the other side with the Red Hill Elementary. And it's shocking to hear when people don't even know if their kids are going to a water fountain, whether or not they know that the water is safe or not. So this gives them plenty of information. It provides them a way to find out, and it's just getting it out. So all I could say more than anything is, if you're one of those parents who's watching right now, or somebody that you know who has children, talk to them, spread it, network this information out. It's very important that everybody, and tell them to do the same thing, to speak up and network it out, because the Coconut Wireless is the only way things are going to get done here. The Navy is definitely out to lunch. They didn't even let us know anything about canceling their time here on the board with the board. They just said, okay, we're done. We're completely done, and never gave us a notice. So how would they even be caring about the children, let alone us? So I just want to thank Ernie Lau and the Board of Water Supply very, very much, along with everybody else, CR Club, EPA, and the Department of Health as well. Thank you.
Okay, can we go online? See if anybody has questions or comments.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Mia Lisa. I'm sorry.
Hi, Joyce. I was wondering if you could look up Moana Lua Shopping Center, because I know it caters both the locals and military as well, and that would be 2810 Vulcanberg. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I just might need help with the spelling, but I can just look up Moana Lua Shopping Center, right?
Yes.
Open Street. And I will be sharing my screen shares shortly. Okay. There we go. You can see this, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I just typed in this address. Go check. So we have no result on
Okay.
this address right now. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I see Chris's hand up. Thank you.
Hello. I don't know if there's a delay. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Okay. I really appreciate you coming on, Joyce. So first off, thank you. And really the concern, I kind of just want it stated out there that a lot of, or in my particular experience, my lease with Capilina Beach Homes does not state that any of the water and power is with the Navy. And then when you do get a utility bill, it was with Yes Energy, a third-party biller, which coming onto an island new, you just assume that's another water provider. You have no idea that that's anything different. And then you just kind of pay through your portal. So there is no knowledge, given that you are choosing your family to be on a Navy water line. It's not your issue, but then when I tried to get a hotel or try to eat out, we got sick at some places that we didn't realize were just businesses on the Navy water line too, when we were trying to avoid our own home. I mean, so I did want to ask, because it's come up before and I'm a little confused because there was sandwich boards at the airport, and I didn't know if there's just part of the airport businesses with Navy water lines and parts with Board of Water Supply. So could you look up 300 Rogers Boulevard for the Honolulu airport? Because some places were not serving water, tap during that time frame, and I don't know if they were just being extra cautious or if they were part of the Navy water line. So I wanted to ensure.
So did you say 300 Roger Boulevard?
Yeah, Rogers. So Rodgers.
Oh. Dgers. Okay. Yep. I hope I spelled that correct.
Yeah, that's what I have for the Daniel K. Nohe International Airport.
But it could be that the state have their own water system to help supply the airport as well. So, but yeah, we would be able to, we can try to look at a deeper dive, see if it is. Yeah, we don't get in. Sorry, it's not being pulled up right now.
Okay. I wasn't getting clear answers from the Navy directly, and the way I understood it from the restaurants inside told me that they were on Navy and they weren't going to be serving water during the crisis, different taps. But I was unsure because the Navy wasn't being very clear that Honolulu Airport, with every public person coming in and out, could be potentially exposed there, and just should be aware and know it. So I just wanted that out there.
I actually don't know if it would be the Navy system, just because the airport would fall under the State Department of Transportation. So that's where I think it's very possible that the water serving the airport is being served through the state water system.
Yeah, maybe
so are
we
you saying
can.
there's another water system besides well water, Navy water line, and Board of Water Supply? There's also a state water system?
It's possible, but yeah, sorry, I can't share this other item for you, but I can just look it up real fast.
Okay, and if not, we can always work together, offline and figure it out and let the public know, because that's really important. You're right, the airport, thousands and thousands of people go through there, and we do need to know.
I have one thing. When this did happen, My best friend worked at American Airlines, and she was told that her higher ups came and said, please do not drink any of the tap water. And they provided for this is only American Airlines, they provided their own bottled water for employees at the time. So I don't know if they were taking precautionary measures or what they knew and what we don't know in regards to a state water system. Or to me, American Airlines was taking care. I believe other airlines probably followed suit, but we can certainly look into that as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Well, I would just say, since the Navy doesn't have a clear answer, we should just contact Department of Transportation, because
Yes.
they would for sure know, since it's their property and building.
Right, yeah. We'll be the proactive ones and get the answer, and working with Joyce and DOT. Is that okay, Joyce? Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot more complicated than than we thought, but this is really good information. That's why we're here, right? To share all this information and knowledge. I saw someone else's hand up, I thought. Susan Picola Davis, did you have your hand up? No? Okay. All right. Any other questions for Joyce? This is really good information, and we're still learning.
Hi, Joyce. Robert again. I do have a question about Mauna Loa Valley. And are the wells still in and around that area? Are they being tested?
Yes.
They are being tested.
Yes.
Okay.
And sorry, is there a follow-up question, Robert?
Yeah, well, that was the question, because I lost an aunt out there who was too young. She wasn't even just going into her golden years, and to cancer. And I'm even questioning, checking out through getting Congress to see about stats on how many people in the Mauna Loa Valley are actually cancer survivors or people that have died of cancer, and see exactly what the percentages are. And that's why I asked about the testing and everything. How long? Can you give me an idea of the time element between the testing and when they do it, the occurrence of when it's done?
So for all of our drinking water wells, we test it monthly, and that is my understanding. We test it monthly, and with some of our monitoring wells, we are increasing the sampling time, sampling frequency. So now we are trying to do sampling every few weeks. So we definitely try to do it more regularly with all of our monitoring and testing.
Wonderful, thank you.
And then I just wanted to get back to you folks about the airport. I did do a little deeper dive, and it looks like we do, actually the Board of Water Supply serves the airport through master meters. They're not located on the address that is listed there, not on the 300. So, but yeah, just from my quick review of some of the service areas, it's served by the Board of Water Supply through master meters. So these are large meters.
Okay, thank you. That's good to know. Go ahead, Jamie.
Joyce, I just wanted to thank you and Ernie and the Board of Directors for all that you guys have done from the beginning of this crisis and before, and to advocate as a mother and also an affected family member. The truth is very important. I know this isn't on the agenda. I was just wondering, we're far pressed for getting information with the Navy and the EPA right now, or transparency. Is there any updates on the dye tracer study?
Regarding the dye tracer study, I have not gotten a lot of update either. However, when I went to the Navy's open house earlier in the year, there was some discussion saying that the dye tracer study is still ongoing, through the UH studies, they were able to their initial contract with the consultants and contractors is good till until October of this year. So they'll continue to do sampling and testing and try to monitor any sort of the dye detections until October. So that also means the final report wouldn't be available until later this year, or if not, maybe early 2027. That is my current understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, which is another concern we have about them reopening the Aya Halava shaft before more information from this red dye tracer study comes in. So thank you for that, Joyce. And Chris, and then Melody.
Just real quick follow-up, how did you look up the airport? Was it an address we could find online as well?
I actually, so I have the Board of Water Supply, we have internal asset managements that we can look into. However, I can't share that with you folks because it is considered critical infrastructure. So that's why I can't share it with the public here, but I can look it up on our end internally. So it's basically like similar to a GIS mapping that we can kind of see where things are. It doesn't always show up and tell us who the owners are and whatnot, but I was able to pan over to the area and I was able to kind of see where the service meters are, the Board of Water service meters. So I can, if we have a service meter with a certain property, then that means we're the ones serving them water.
Oh, okay, so just not available to public unless we put the net address and then emailed or called and asked about it.
Yeah, we can let you know. Yeah, we can let you know. If you give us an address, we can look up that vicinity more closely to see if we have any service meters or services in that general area. And if it is being served by the water supply, then we'll let you know.
All right, thank you. Melody?
Thank you. Thank you, Joyce, for your attendance and giving us how to look for addresses. I just have a question regarding the Navy's monitoring wells. I know that Ernie Lau has been wanting to have access to the Navy's monitoring wells. Has he been able to gain access to those wells? No. Okay. Now, okay, so we are aware that there has been PFOA and PFOS detections in the Navy IA Halava shaft. And Board of Water Supply not having access to the Navy's wells or monitoring wells. How does that sit with a Board of Water Supply, and how does it affect the Board of Water Supply's lines, given that the Navy intends to open the Navy IA Halava shaft next month?
Well, yes, so the Board of Water Supply, we still have no access to their monitoring wells. We try to ask for access to sampling at their wells as well, but they were very restrictive on what can be tested from the monitoring wells. So we were unsuccessful in gaining access to the wells or even the to do sampling essentially. The water supply, we're very concerned, honestly, with the reactivation of IAEA Halava shaft, just because that there's still a lot of unknowns out there. You know, what was just mentioned earlier, the dye tracer study hasn't really been completed. The groundwater modeling has not been completed either. So where the potential contaminants may be traveling is very concerning. Would turning on the IAEA Halava shaft draw those potential plumes closer and more northwestward? We don't know. So yeah, we continue to be very just closely monitoring the existing monitoring wells that we do have to see if we're detecting any sort of PFAS or the petroleum products, and yeah, we'll assess as we go.
I asked another follow-up question then. How close are the Board of Water Supplies monitoring wells to the Navy IAEA Halava shaft? So that'll be your only indication, I suppose, your own monitoring wells to see if there's any PFAS, PFOS traveling.
Yes. So in establishing our monitoring well network, it's been a little bit challenging trying to identify space so that we can actually drill a well. Currently, we don't have any monitoring well that's near IAEA Halava shaft. The nearest we have source wells that are near that area, so that's actually turned off as a result of the release. So we have our Halava wells and IAEA wells; those were turned off as a result of the spill in 2021. And more recently, just a little bit more westward of IAEA Halava shaft, we have our Ka'amilo wells that is detecting PFAS, and we turned off to implement a temporary PFAS treatment facility there. So we do test our source wells, even though if we don't have monitoring well, we'll use our source wells as almost like a testing point. We'll grab a water sample to see if we're getting anything. So we're continuing to monitor any potential movement.
Okay, Jamie? Oh, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Just a quick follow-up, Joyce. Somebody just typed in, because I put in the chat, about the Halava prison. We have an amazing individual, Pedro, that has come forward discussing the effects that happened to him as well as other community members in the prison. Somebody just typed in the address for the prison and it didn't come back with any results. Is there any way that we can look into that to confirm if that's on the Navy water line or Board of Water Supply water line?
So yes, actually we looked into this a little while ago. I believe our manager Lau have stated before that the prison is served by the Board of Water Supply through a master meter. So after it passes the water meter, then all the infrastructure, the piping on site is managed privately through the state. So, but the water itself comes from the Board of Water Supply sources.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Really good information. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Joyce, for all you do and everyone at Board of Water Supply. This is really educational. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So our next agenda item is the EPA approving the Navy's proposal to no longer meet with the CRI. So let me just give you some quick background to that, and then we can all comment on that and how it occurred. So the CRI came into existence in, I believe, September 2023 due to an administrative consent order from the EPA. The administrative consent order, the draft one, went out for comment, and well, I want to say 1,700 people responded with public comment, and the biggest request was to have community at the table to be able to ask questions to the Navy and the EPA and the DOH. And so we were formed, we were elected, and we had just a couple meetings, and then, I want to say November 2024, the Navy and the EPA redid the administrative consent order without any public comment. They took control of the agenda. They had these rules of engagement. They said they would control where the where the meetings took place. They really took control, took it away from the community. But we continued, we persevered. And our last meeting was in December of this year. And the EPA, and I thank them for this, did hire a trauma-informed facilitator. And we met with the Navy, the EPA, the DOH. It was a very, very good meeting. You can see it on YouTube, on the CRI website. And then a week ago from yesterday, on a Wednesday at noon, the EPA texted me, could they come on to our CRI noon meeting? And I said yes, and they just kind of dropped us a bombshell, said, well, as EPA, we approved the community engagement agreement or plan for the Navy, and it doesn't include the CRI anymore. It doesn't. We will no longer require them to meet with you, the Community Representation Initiative. And we were just like gut punched, as some of you here will attest to and comment on. Again, I don't understand how this administrative consent order works. It can be amended, and then even without amendment, they can suddenly decide that the Navy doesn't have to meet with us. So that's how that came down. The Navy did not tell us themselves. The EPA was the one that told us on their behalf, I guess. So, we're really kind of dumbstruck. We really thought we were moving in the right direction and getting things addressed and getting answers. And, so I'm going to open it up to first the people here live and then to the folks online. So who wants to start with a comment? And this is going to get rough because we're very upset.
Hello, I'm Robert Huber. Again, I won't be lied about this. It's absolutely appalling that the Navy's protocol was so poor, and the word is not even lackluster, it's pathetic. That they can't contact us after all the arduous work from the top, from, Melody putting in all the years of work and getting the, everybody involved, twin groups of Hawaiians, getting, the Sierra Club involved, getting the Pentagon, getting a lawsuit to the Pentagon just to get their attention. And my big question is this. What form of bureaucracy, what chain of bureaucracy did they have to go up to get this if it wasn't just in some consent order written in the documents that we didn't see or know about? Who authorized it from the top? Was this part of their bureaucratic nature of the military to handle it this way on a lower level and make these calls, or was it coming from the top? Or is a bigger question, do we have to go back up to the top again, back up to the Pentagon to get answers that are more responsive and responsibility towards our community, towards our people, towards not only the Hawaiian nations, but the Malahini, and as well as the Kamaina, like myself. I've been here since '74, and this is unbelievable. This is not Hawaiian. This is not Hawaiian. This is just poor performance coming from the heads of our military here on Oahu. And there is no reason in the world that they couldn't have contacted us in a simple email and told us ahead of time, look, we're pulling out, but we're going to contact you every 6 months. We're going to, we'll get together, once in a while, but we'll contact you through email or some kind of, mitigate this thing, But no, they just told us nothing at all. And that's how this whole thing began, was with nothing. That's why we got in this mess that we did. Nothing happened back then. And that's why the benzene leaked, because nobody did anything. They did nothing. They just built these benzene towers from hell above our water table. Of course, they didn't have all the technology that we have today. But I find it in this day and age highly unacceptable coming from the military. And I was adopted from a military family of standing, okay? We have a Silver Star in our family, all right? And I'm going to tell you, if he was here right now, I could see how the anger in his eyes. And I speak through his spirit and tell you that When people die, when people are sick, and the kids are dying from all this nonsense, and you turn a naked eye from us, from a board, that we meet and take our personal time to come here and try to make some resolution on just checking to make sure that everything's okay, that the testing's being done, that the results look good. What can we do next? No, they just go in hiding. I rest my case. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'll jump right on that and say it is very embarrassing that they're being complete bullies and they just want to take more and more of the land and our resources. And of course there's somebody that's got to answer to it, who is responsible for allowing them to do this. So I would like to call on the EPA for answers. They are not here. The Environmental Protection Agency and Department of Health is not here. So I don't mind calling them out also and asking, why are you going to let them do this to us? Your family, our families. Mahalo.
Thank you.
So I think one thing that we forget about is we are still illegally occupied by America. We still reside in the Hawaiian Kingdom with residents that are Malihini, Kama'aina, and Kanaka Maoli. With that being said, and the military knows that very well because there is no documentation and no palapala of illegal annexation of our islands. They cannot come up with that. No politician can come up with that. And that's where it lays. So if it's just the water and they know it's the Kingdom of Hawaii, why bother? They came in here in 1893, and they've been desecrating our island ever since. We have always been a melting pot with all different peoples. We got along very well. We learned from each other. We have the slang of each other. We have all of our immigrants and Kanaka and Poehaole that can work together. But all of a sudden, these guys just now, it's not surprising to me because when I was on that very first Zoom on this CRI, and everyone was so upset, it didn't even faze me because we're so used to the military doing what they do. And they've killed our people, they've hurt our people, now they're hurting the residents of Hawaii, and finally, maybe something can be done because now we have all mixed nationalities that will gather together and protect Hawaii nei, because we can't do it alone. So mahalo, Robert. I too come from two parents who adopted me that were both in the military, and they would find this disgusting because they are very, very proud American. I choose to be a Kanaka Maoli of my Aina, but I still do respect my parents and your parents and our kupuna that fought for the country that they love. So there's a balance there. And these guys, and I'm not talking about the military that has to work for these people. I'm talking about the higher-ups that really don't give a crap about anybody, including their own people. That the Hawaiians come together and give fresh water and bottled water to Malama, the poor people that have been poisoned, that are they're here representing America on Navy land and they come from elsewhere, and yet I have asked them prior to this, because I've been to many meetings, why don't you get out of your uniform, go to Sam's, grab some water, and come and help us give to the people that work for you? And they couldn't say anything. It's a human right at this point where we all malama each other and we all take care of each other. But it's no surprise to us Kanaka. They've been doing this shit for so long. It's not going to stop us, though, and now we're united in colors of all that Malama are Hawaii, and we'll just move forward in Pono as much as we can in Pono, but we're going to be right there to protect our Aina. So mahalo to everyone here and online. Aloha.
Thank you.
So I did want to highlight that one of the excuses that they gave for no longer needing to meet with us was that they would do 2 annual FTAC meetings and then their little summer show and tell performance. But I think a lot of us are familiar with how horrible the FTAC meetings are. They're always in the coldest room possible in the world, and they're a minimum 5 hours long. And if you survive until the end when they have the public comment, it always gets cut short, because they ran out of time and, the lights get cut off. The janitor's there to kick us out, right? And that's like just completely unacceptable of an excuse of more of saying that there's a better way to consult the community, because people have constantly been talking about how unsatisfactory the FTAC meetings are. And so I did want to highlight that there is a bill right now during session, SB 2093, and this bill will mandate that the FTAC has to meet at least 4 times a year, so once a quarter. It's passed out of its first 2 committees, and so it needs to be heard by the Senate Ways and Means Committee by March 6th. So I think we can band together and give Chair Donovan Dela Cruz and Vice Chair Sharon Moriwaki some calls and emails. Please hear this bill, because absolutely unacceptable for the Navy to shirk its responsibility to the community. It's literally in the statute that they have to increase better communications with the community in the event of future spills, and so they can't do that from only twice a year with a packed agenda that they can never get through on time. And so having more frequent meetings will mean that they have less things to get through every time they meet, and also it gives people more time to actually be able to have the opportunity to show up. There was an amendment made that one of the meetings has to be outside of regular business hours, because typically they have it at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday. I don't know how many of you guys have your Wednesdays off, right? Or your Tuesdays. So it's really important that we get that bill through. That's just one of the hurdles, is getting through the Senate, and then it'll have to go through the House. So hopefully we can, band together, get our people together to give them some calls and emails. Please hear the bill. When they schedule it, submit testimony so that they can tell that the people of Hawaii want our voices heard, want the Navy to stop hiding. Yeah.
Perfect. Can you repeat that bill one more time?
Yes, so it's SB 2093.
Got it.
Mahalo. Yeah.
SB 2093, and if someone could put that in the chat, you probably already have. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Marty's on it, man. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to go online. Just go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like a comment. Go ahead, Chris.
I echo the sentiment that this is bullshit. So it hurts. I almost didn't want to talk. Sorry, because I could feel it. It's not right. And the whole thing was to do better, have better teeth than the 2014, because they already had these spills. This isn't the first spill, so this was supposed to do better. We go forward, we do better. And how do we hold their feet to the fire? If they are the poisoner and they were a private company, this would be different. And it should not be. We should still be holding the Navy accountable like anybody else. And it's up to them. It's the money that has to come from them to fix it all. And then they have to show up to these things. You have affected family, but you also have people representing Native Hawaiians, local community groups, citizens of Oahu. All of that is a great different viewpoints at the table that only help them. I don't understand why they want roomfuls of people. Do they want stadium room full of people asking them all these questions? This is a great way that we just have a voted in representation, smaller table that we can bring these things monthly out to the public, help the public get their answers, or at least some answers. I mean, even if it wasn't what it should be, at least there was quite a bit of good information put out monthly for community. So you're damn right, people were hurt, and I don't fault the prior meetings for the way that they went, because everybody had every right to feel the way they felt, and they should have been aware that it's really too soon after such a traumatic environmental disaster to really ask that of the people they hurt. So they should have handled that way better and done their own trainings before they did meetings and really addressed it more appropriately, rather than demanding things of everybody. And then, well, yeah, I know we hurt, I know we suck, but we demand we do this. I mean, that's just bull, and it should never come like that. And if there is a agreement already put in place by the EPA with a consent order, where do we get to put in new comments about this change? I don't think it's legal. And I don't think it's legal in any way. And I think our politicians need to really push back and help the CRI be backed up. So I want that out there. That's really important. I mean, I'm just a single mom who was trying to find a safe place away from domestic violence, and Hawaii was a place somebody couldn't drive by my house. They would have had to put a lot of effort. And it was something we were supposed to restart our family there, and they took it all away. Impoverished us. I left Hawaii with my kid in a wheelchair. This is not okay. It's not okay. What happened? It's not okay. And they are the ones that should be answering the questions, fixing the problems, cutting off pipes that are to the public and making them service to brand new pipe connections for Board of Water Supply, so nobody ever has to have them again. If they choose to live off base, they need to even know they're secure somewhere else, and everybody in the community make choices for their own families. It's not okay. That's all. It's just bullshit, and it's the woefully inadequate. The community engagement plan, if you read each paragraph, it just says, "We'll contact Kanaka." What does that mean? That's not a good enough engagement plan, and who would approve those paragraphs if you read them? Again, the theme is bullshit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris.
Excuse me, Susan. I'd like to ask Marty if she could put in to the chat, please, the website for the legislative website into the chat for people that are watching online. They don't normally go onto the legislative website, so they can go in and enter that bill number that she's already submitted in there and enter it so that they can leave their comment and maybe start doing this on a more regular basis, find something new here in Hawaii. A lot of people I talk to don't even know about it, and I think it's really important to get that information out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so SB 2093 is a bill to increase the frequency of the FTAC meetings. And I also wanted to highlight that there is an election coming up this year for Congressional District 1, which is currently occupied by Representative Ed Case. But there are two challengers for him, State Senator Jarrett Keohokolole and State Representative Della Albaladi. And this Saturday, the 21st, the Democratic Party is actually having a candidate forum with Senator Keohokolole and Rep. Baladi from 10 to 12 on Zoom. And who funds the Navy? Congress. What are they running for? Congress. So I think it's really important, that we should be asking these folks as part of their platform, do you support, remediating Red Hill, making sure that we get money, not just for the Navy to upgrade their own private water lines, but give money to the Board of Water Supply, who the state cannot afford to pay for what was done. Who has the money? The Pentagon, with their constantly increasing budget. It should be coming from them. And so having a person in Congress who's committed to fighting for us is something that we should be advocating for. So if you ever see them in the streets, catch them. Let them know. Comment on their Instagrams. Come to events like this candidate forum that's happening this weekend. I'm sure someone can find the Zoom link to register for that one somewhere and post it in the chat, and then we'll also see if we can get that out as well. But that's another really important group of people that we should be making sure. And Senator Keohokolole did introduce some Red Hill bills this session, so he is open to it, and we want to make sure Rep. Baladi is also as well. So making sure we let them know this is an important thing voters are thinking about this election. Mahalo.
Mahalo kako.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is just another example of what the CRI does. We all come together with our experience and knowledge, and we let the public know. So, thank you, everyone. I want to make sure the rest of the CRI members online, if they'd like to comment. And if not, that's okay. I see Jamie. I'm going to do Jamie, and then I know Melody. So Jamie first, please. Oh, and then, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to keep mine very short. I had a rough day today medically with one of my children that were affected, and I don't want to talk about it publicly, but this is BS, and this is why I started speaking up due to how long we were on the water line. Shutting this down is another way of just silencing voices. And that is the playbook of the military. We're asking too hard of questions. There's too many amazing minds that were on the previous panel and that are on this panel now and that work behind the scenes and dig up the information. For me, I feel like they want to just steamroll and proceed forward with what they're doing. This is happening across the country. I saw 2 other fuel spills just alone this week in the news. And it breaks my heart for Hawaii. It breaks my heart. And it is for them to sit there and the EPA and to give us the excuse that we're not providing information or good information or rebuilding trust within the community, that the Navy broke, that the EPA broke, and the Department of Health broke. Because I'll tell you what, when this first started happening, the Department of Health was one of the first places I was calling. And I was getting hung up on, pleading for them to come test my water on the military base. They broke that trust. They continue to break that trust. We all have sat here time and time again, whether behind the scenes or at this table, whether people have been advocating, such as Marty, since 2014 with Ernie Lau, watching commander after dignitary and seats change over and over and continue to educating the new military personnel coming out, warning of this happening. The CRI has continued to do the same thing, and they got their panties in a bunch. Because a couple of people got a little trauma affected from what was happening to their family. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. This consent order was here for a reason. Everything is not done or POW in Hawaii. It's not cleaned up. It's not okay. And they're covering it up. And this is just another way of silencing it. And I hope those that are making these choices 10 years from now, when they're looking in their children's face or their grandchildren's face, because these toxins and contaminants from research that I've done or education that's been put out there last for up for 4 generations. So it may skip you right away, or it may affect you right away, or it may move down the line. I hope that they are able to look in the faces of those that they have harmed when service is done and answer for it. But until then, me personally, I'm going to stand for Hawaii and I'm going to stand for my family. I did that as a military spouse for 18 years. And as a former military spouse, not only did they abandon their service members, but they abandoned those children that have given everything to support their parent who made that choice, not them. So no, I wasn't surprised either, but doesn't mean we're going to back down. Sorry, I have to close my screen for a minute.
Thank you, Jamie. We really appreciate you and what you've been through. I'm going to go to Michelle next because she's a CRI member, and then Melody. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't surprised. I just am extremely disappointed. I had hopes that we had made so much progress in reconnecting with the Navy and the EPA and the CRI. And having the trauma-informed facilitator at the last meeting, I was enthusiastic that some true trust building would begin, because trust is built through aligned actions over time. It is not something that happens overnight. It is not something that after so much contamination was discovered, so many people got sick, and so much blatant corruption was exposed as people were actually exposed, and then actually gaslit over gas in their water supply. I had thought we had made it pretty clear that trust with the public would take some time. And it seemed that that was understood. At least I thought that it was, but apparently the old ways of disseminating information that is used by the United States Navy in cahoots with our federal government agencies they're just going to default back to those old ways that didn't work out so well before. It's their kuleana, their responsibility to look after these sectors of life. The Department of Defense, the United States Navy, their kuleana, their responsibility is to protect the citizens of this country that we are illegally occupied by, which makes us subsequently citizens of this country. We're the civilians that they have sworn oaths to protect, including their own families and themselves. The responsibility means having the ability to respond. And we've encountered in our interactions when we ask questions more reactivity than responsibility taken, which has made the trust building through these meetings prior to the last year was very challenging, and there was a lot of heated debate, which led to the Navy not showing up for quite a while because their feelings were hurt. So I had thought this last year, when we had our quarterly meetings, we were making some progress, and having the trauma-informed facilitator was going to ease things, and I was hopeful. But my hope is persistent because I have faith in the community members who have rallied together from all walks of backgrounds to heal Mount Kapukahi and heal the Aina and speak for those who don't have time to speak. We're volunteers. We don't get anything out of this other than we can feel better, and I can sleep a little better at night because I know that I'm not staying silent on an issue and I'm doing what I can and in community. And this issue will last through generations, and we are united. And I want to give big mahalos to all of the organizations that have been rallying over this issue and continue to speak out, because this is the only way that accountability will be had. And, you know, we should not, like Hey Alani said, you know, in our group message, she said, we should not be begging for a seat at the table. And I was like, yes, we should not be begging for a seat at the table when we are the table.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. Before I go to Melody and then Mandy and Meredith, I just want to read the one sentence that is in the Navy's community engagement plan for 2026. This is their reason why they're not going to, they don't think they want to meet with us anymore. They're not going to meet with us anymore, and the EPA approved. It says, "This meeting," I assume they mean these meetings because they met a few times with us, "frequently did not meet the objective of building trust and effectively sharing information with the community." And I think we all know what bull that is, because if, again, as Michelle said, to build trust, it takes time. They are the perpetrator of an extreme trauma against Ina and Vi and people. And, to say it did not meet the objective of building trust is ludicrous, and effectively sharing information. So rather than them coming to the table and us asking our questions and getting some of them at least back in writing, now, let's see, we're going to be more ineffective because we're going to go to a town hall or to a webinar, and we're going to have to ask them the same question over and over again, and we don't know if they will answer us in any way, shape, or form. So this comment of did not meet the objective of building trust and effectively sharing information is bull. And with that, I'll go to Melody. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm one of the original CRI members, so I've been involved 2 years, going on 3, I guess, at this point. But from the very beginning, we never got a straight answer to many of the questions that were posed, starting with Vice Admiral John Wade with the Joint Task Force Red Hill. I remember there was one meeting where he actually sent us a video instead of being present. And I remember Marty was the chair, and she said, that's not going to happen again. So they've time and time again have disappointed us in not answering our questions. And then there was, of course, questions that they didn't know the answer. And I remember when we asked them about their own clean water website or whatever that website was, and I believe that was Rear Admiral Mark Williams just didn't know how to even maneuver through his own website. So what I've observed is that when they did participate, oftentimes they did not have the answers. They did not have the experts that did have the answers appear. And they would send people that supposedly represented the Navy, but it was clear that they were new and they don't really know the history of Red Hill or the procedures that are going on to clean it up. Okay, so we went through the Joint Task Force Red Hill, and we had all of that unanswered questions. We had 300 plus questions carrying over to the now Navy Closure Task Force. I mean, for myself as a environmental activist, and I represent the Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party, this phase of cleaning up Red Hill is just as important, if not more important, than the closure itself. So it really disturbs me, although no longer on the CRI officially. I'm going to keep track of what's going on. And if we can't have that open dialogue with the Navy, then yes, community trust is not there, because the objective, putting this amendment in the 2023 administrative consent order, has not been met in no shape or form. They did not answer our questions. They sent people that did not know how to answer the questions. And those that had the answers, I guess they were not directed to attend. It was all a non-disclosure situation. So, there's so much that has gone on, and it's not just 2021, 2022, the first spill, and then the second with the PFAS. And that's another thing too. I've always pressed on the PFAS contamination and spill. And it was almost like there was one instance where they just would not answer any of my PFAS questions because it was not contained in the 2023 administrative consent order. I mean, that is so important. That is the forever chemicals, and that's where right now what we are up against with the Navy Halava shaft. Okay, I did want to mention that there's another Red Hill like bill, and that's SB 2094. And this is I'm sorry. Let me start with this one. SB 2046. This is Senator Kealole's bill, and this one relates to underground storage tanks, and it requires an owner or operator of an underground storage tank or tank system with a confirmed release, such as the Navy, to meet certain standards for the restoration of the environment. Now don't have access to the Navy Closure Task Force anymore, so we'd have to rely on something like that bill. And then I'm also going to inform this body of three other bills that were introduced by Senator Gabbard, again, through the Environmental Caucus. And that's the EALs. I know for those of you, when we met with the Department of Health, we met with Roger Brewer, we met with Grace, and also with Kathleen Ho, and regarding the EALs, how it's in the collective of human health. And so we had a bill introduced, and that's SB 2094. And that would allow, if it hasn't been amended out, I haven't seen the SD1 yet, but it has passed the first committee hearing and going to, I believe it's going to go to judiciary after this. And it would allow for the public to petition the Department of Health on the justifications of their EALs.
Okay, Melody, I'm going to ask you to move along because we have Mandy and Meredith, and then we have public comments after that, and we still have some more agenda items. Perhaps you could just list the names, the numbers, SB, whatever, and also put it in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. The other two the last two is SB 2095, SD1, and that one is having a PFAS working group. And this one, Ernie Lau has asked to be on the working group. Okay, final SB 2096, SD1, and that's regarding the PFAS screening of wastewater when used for agricultural purposes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go on to Mandy and then Meredith, and then we've got to move on to the next agenda item.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Susan, for giving me a chance to speak here. I, like Melody and many other folks, prior CRI member, and unlike many folks on here, I'm 0% surprised by what has happened. I'm no longer appalled. I've said from very early on, since we were warned by the Camp Lejeune community, that folks like Amy Miller and Jamie, I hope you're listening, because this confirms how much of a fraud that you and the organization that you represent are. You remain forever, generations now, decades, to be one of the most corrupt organizations. Your mission is absurd. And it's just, it's unbelievable. I don't know how any of you people sleep at night. As a member, still an active duty member of the armed services, I want to say on behalf of the organization that I represent and have served and spent my entire adult life, risked my life for this country downrange, I am royally embarrassed, and I am terribly sorry for what my organization has done to this community, to the people of Hawaii, to your greatest resource, which is your water, and to the environment. After serving 20 years and doing some really amazing things for our country, I will say that it has been the greatest honor of my life and the most important work that I've done to serve alongside each of you. I will forever be indebted as a gracious tenant of the island for 2 years for the love and aloha that you all showed my family and our community. the military had an opportunity here to right a wrong, and they royally screwed it up. And instead of allowing us, the CRI, to build a bridge, to bridge the gap, to right the wrong, they combated us. They pumped their chest and they came in to try to show, some sort of great power on the people that they stole from, that they poisoned. They showed no humility, no grace, no humbleness, and no remorse. And that remains. And it was a dog and pony show. It was a joke. And I just, again, on behalf of the organization that I serve, I am so sorry, but I'm equally as grateful for each of you. And I hope that I know that everyone's extremely disappointed. I hope that this fuels, no pun intended, like fuels the passion inside of each of you to continue to use the voice that God gave you to never say no to an opportunity to amplify the Red Hill story. I will continue to do that for as long as I live. I'm so grateful for this community, and never stop talking about Red Hill. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm being told, I thought we had till 8 o'clock. We only have till 7 o'clock. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Till 7 o'clock. Okay, so yeah, I think we're just going to have to go into announcements and then public testimony. We'll have to skip. It's my apologies. We did want to go through some of the answers that the Navy had given us that were incomplete, but we'll do that at another time. Announcements. So redhillsurvey.com. This is a survey we'd like people to take. It's from the DLNR, Department of Land and Natural Resources, the VI Authority. So it's not from the CRI, but it's a survey for the public. So it would be really good to take that. It's due at the end of February. So again, just go on redhillsurvey.com to take that. Let's see, if Tara Sutton is here, I guess under public testimony, she can tell us about the Red Hill Registry. And with that, I think we'll just go straight to public testimony. And I can see that we have first Meredith. Yeah, go ahead, Meredith, and then Tara. And please be thoughtful of other people who would like to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Aloha, everybody. As you might know, I'm not great off the cuff, mostly because I'm scared to say something wrong. So more than 4 years later, there remain so many unresolved issues surrounding the Red Hill facility and its remarkably consequential role in the contamination of drinking water with jet fuel in 2021. EPA was right to include the CRI as a part of the 2023 ACO after overwhelming public input, after the strongly opposed approval of the Navy's shameful amendment to the ground rules in 2024, it became abundantly clear that EPA is incapable of effective enforcement. But you know what? They're actually great at doing enforcing what the polluter, the violator, and the Navy wants in this matter. Let's not forget the basics here. Our country's military poisoned our water, our bodies with fuel that makes a jet fly. And now, because we have some questions, they're allowed to tuck their tails and run. I don't disagree that the Navy, EPA, and DOH are working on it, but it's not enough. We continue to receive vague and evading responses from all involved entities regarding basic inquiries like, does the Navy have SOPs for their water system? Have the water storage tanks been cleaned since there was jet fuel in them? Why was there PFAS detected in the Red Hill shaft in 2021? These are incredibly valid drinking water safety questions, which are all well within the scope of the ACO, unlike the Navy wants us to believe. The statement in their engagement plan that Susan mentioned, that the meetings didn't meet the objective of building trust and effectively sharing information with the community, is their opinion. And they may feel this way because their attempts to build back trust and keep us informed have been unsuccessful. I am disappointed that the EPA shows no sign of a backbone by approving that the Navy's mere attendance here is no longer required. If this is how they shift the rules for a community meeting, I cannot imagine how they can effectively conduct proper oversight of protecting our environment and our lives. The Navy's reasoning of very low attendance for CRI meetings does not equate quality. Just like we've heard before about low-level detections of diesel in our water, a little amount still matters and can make serious change. Mahalo, everybody, for still keeping this up, and God help us all.
Thank you, Meredith.
Yes. Okay, so Deanna, is she on there? Okay. Is she here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're going to actually go to someone in the room here to give testimony, public testimony, up
This
here
one.
at the microphone.
This way.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako e nā hoa. O kawai hoa ko inoa. O Malea ka inoa ko makua. He hiapo au. He kia ia hau. He Hawaii au. Previously, someone said to fuel to make a jet fly. They're fueling the jets to fly to somewhere else to hurt Palestinian children. And at the same time, our children drink the water in silence. And what a good excuse it is to just blame the water, right? It was the water. Or the water happened. We need to back up a little bit and realize that this is not a Kanaka fight. This is not just a Hawaiian fight. This is a human right, a human resource. And at this point, if we're not looking at these bills, SB 2093, SB 2094, SB 2095, and SB 2096, I urge you folks to please do so. You take my cousins away from me when they sign up to be in your gang. So I'm gonna call my cousins back to the human side of things. This whole part of us, this is a human issue. But you're not gonna keep recruiting my people and our family and my babies, our children of Hawaii. We're all Makua, which means these become my parents. Makua Rab, Raja. Look at these bills, gang. And this is for the world, for the Aina, and no kalahui, mahalo nui.
Mahalo. Do we have a trouble on Zoom? We don't see the screen on Zoom anymore. Are we still on Zoom?
When the speaker was talking, we could see all of the Zoom participants instead of
Oh,
the
there they are.
microphone,
Oh,
and now we see the microphone.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. Tara Rojos, you have been waiting patiently. I really appreciate you, so go ahead.
Aloha nui, and I have on no leases on stolen land, U.S. military out of Hawaii, and to put on the record that the regulating agencies, Department of Health, EPA, and the Navy themselves, just know that how sad it is that the people have to hold them accountable. They're not doing their job as far as the water, as far as anything, the air, regarding like geothermal, and we just know that we just had been gaslit, by the Navy. And what came to mind, because everybody had mentioned, what I wanted to say as well, and I totally agree with what we have all been saying for all these years, to just keep going. So if they're gonna say we're gonna have these town halls, let's show up in numbers in town halls. Let's divide the questions left to answer, give it to each person, and then we'll sit there. We'll bring the CRI to them. We'll bring the CRI to their venues. Sorry. Not sorry. It's just, if they're gonna do that, we hold them accountable. Even if it's not at at the Olelo, the studios. Then we go to where they're at, and we make them answer. We hold them accountable. We film it. We get the people in numbers, and we don't let them off the hook. We cannot keep this going in which they just do their, I heard somebody mentioning just their typical answers, and then they bring people that do not have the responses. Do you remember when they were in Mauna Loa and they had everybody, even think Department of Health and all like the different people on the stage, and then we were telling them, and then they're like, oh well, we don't know. And I know I told them before, like many times, like, you know, we'll bring somebody who can answer, who does know, you know, how they say, move it up the ladder, and they still haven't. All these years they still haven't. And finally, I just mentioned this to bring and back and keep in mind the fact that, remember at the beginning where they're holding these meetings for the military families and communities, and when the Department of Defense guy was, what did he say? It's not the water, it's the jet fuel in the water, or something crazy like that. And just, you know, and so they were still denying it at that point. So we stand with all the family, the Ohana affected. We stand with each other, you know, here how we've been going forward, and we keep going forward. We just bring the CRI to them. We bring the CRI to them. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo.
And love you all.
Thank you. Okay, Tara Sutton next.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody who's here, CRI members, in person, online, on the continent, calling in from different time zones. Thank you for the work that you do, the time that's invested. I know what you guys put in. I've done it with you. Thank you. And I know that you're not going to stop. So I appreciate, you know, I just want to mahalo you, not only for work done, but work I know you're going to continue doing. If I may, I don't want to take a lot of time because I know there's others. I do still work with the registry. It is an independent registry that you have to opt in, choose to be a part of. The University of Hawaii oversees the day-to-day operations of the registry, and they're enrolling people right now. And the purpose of this enrollment is threefold. One is so that we can learn what the exposure may have caused in our bodies. You know, what type of effects are there, what long effects, acute effects. There's not enough known about jet fuel exposure to the human body. Studies that do exist are primarily done with men in occupational settings, not babies in kapuna drinking and bathing in their homes. So we need to know more about this exposure and more about the impacts. And the only way to do so is to have everybody enroll. Either you have health effects today or you have none. There's going to be a full spectrum. There are people who do not get affected today. We need data so that we can get a true representation of the 93,000 people who were exposed or potentially exposed. The other parts of the registry is to provide educational materials, not only to community members like myself who drank the fuel, Michelle who drank the fuel, Mandy, but also for doctors who care for us and our families. We are preparing continued medical education that will be distributed as credits for doctors and healthcare professionals to be able to learn about the findings of the health effects on people, and we'll be able to teach how to treat and move that forward. We're also going to pair up with NASM and help them with disseminating the findings that they're about to publish next month and interpreting that to material that doctors can implement. And then the last thing that we do is we connect people to resources that they might need. And that is through Unite Us. It's a national platform that will help people. You can search kind of like a Google search, but it's specifically to help find resources that you need in your area. So even if you've gone to the continent or elsewhere, that is something And we have a phone number that you can call and have people work with you live. All of that information is available on our website, redhillregistry.org. I just can't stress enough how important it is to join the registry, get your data put in, help us fight with knowledge and clear understanding of what this exposure looks like to our bodies. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Tara. And yeah, that's another thing that I think the CRI helps with is you're always here announcing the Red Hill Registry and letting us know how to sign up, and the CRI supports you in that, and that's just another thing that we do that the Navy and the EPA doesn't. So thank you. While we wait for anybody else who might, is there anybody here live also who wants to, okay, Marty. Public testimony. Marty Townsend.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Maria Townsend, and I appreciate the opportunity to present public comment on this side of the table. It's so so much nicer. It's so much less stressful on this side. I just want to say that I feel like the CRI provides a very important service, and that is to help us to not forget. Right? I think, Mandy mentioned this also, but part of what the Navy, I think, wants to do in their mind when they say they want to rebuild trust, what they want is for everyone to forget that this happened and just go ahead and do as we were doing before. And that's never going to happen because people like us aren't going to let it happen, right? And I think that is an important service, and that we can continue to provide that service regardless if the Navy shows up in this setting. And like we said, we can take the CRI to them. I am very, very disappointed. I was one of the people who was quite angry when the EPA kind of dropped this on us. Because I feel like, I put my reputation on the line, and I said, this particular body is what makes it different from the last time. And the fact that they just wholeheartedly cut that out without any process at all is just antithetical to everything that we believe in Hawaii, right? In Hawaii, we believe in public process. We believe that there's value in the conversation itself, right? And so the fact that they are cutting off conversation just goes to further show that the Department of War doesn't line up with the social, cultural norms in the Hawaiian Islands, and that, this experience of having our water poisoned and also learning more and more about, the live fire training that's done on Moko Okeawe, I think demonstrates to me that no matter how many jobs the military may generate, it is not worth it. It is not worth the risk to our environment. It is not worth the risk to our public health. And it is not worth it to play this role in this overall global war that the military insists on projecting. And we have to take a more overt position, both to stand up for our own best interests, but also to help protect our people around the world from the U.S. and empire. So we have a huge task amongst us, and but we take it little by little, each of us carrying our own bit, and we can get pretty far. There are a few things that I wanted to make sure that we don't forget, because that is part of our role. So one, I want to make sure that we remember that the water tanks that the Navy uses on the Navy water line, the water tanks, not the fuel tanks, have not been cleaned since the 2021 release. And many of them haven't been cleaned for years before that release. So there's sediment that builds up in the bottom of these tanks, and every so often that sediment gets disturbed. And so the pollution that is in that sediment gets recirculated in the water. And I think this is something that people should make sure we never forget, and that as we advocate for the public's best interest going forward for people's public health, that we get those tanks cleaned as soon as possible. I want us to make sure that we remember that the Navy is seeking to have two water sources reopened. These water sources were closed as a result of the Red Hill disaster, and the Navy wants to have them brought online. The Department of Health, the State Department of Health, is the decision maker on that matter, and there is no real public process. We will have to beg and plead and kick and scream to get public process around that particular decision. I want people to remember that billions of dollars were appropriated towards the Red Hill disaster, and we have never gotten an accounting of how that money was spent. And the Board of Water Supply in particular has spent a lot of money on monitoring installing new water wells, monitoring wells, on water sampling. They need to find a new primary water source, and so they're having to do all of this investigative drilling. They invested all of this money in making the Halava shaft state of the art, and as soon as they did that, this disaster happened. So the Navy owes the Board of Water Supply a lot of money. In addition to all of us, think of all of the families who have had, threw away all of their plastic, threw away all the dishes, all of the health, medical things that they had to pay for. So there's a lot of money that the military owes, and they have a lot of money, and we don't know how it's been used. And so that's another thing that I hope we can help hold them accountable for. And that's just 3 of 10,000 things. And thank you all very much for going on this roller coaster ride with all of us. It's been real, and it's nice to know that none of us are giving up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to help me keep watching to see if anybody else online raises their hand to see if there's any more public testimony. But I think we can circle back to our agenda item that I wanted to skip. We have 2 more. Okay. Melody and then Tara. Oh, go ahead, Melody. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Along those lines, how the EPA appears to be on the side of the Navy and Department of Health to some extent as well, has made it easy on the Navy. The lawsuit that I am involved in as plaintiff, Waiola Alliance, it's coming up for trial on March 31st next month. And we got a good whammy today. This is what I learned. Our star witness, who we all know is Lieutenant Commander Shannon Banks. Now, Judge Kobayashi is requiring an affidavit from her rather than just putting her on the stand. So that was quite a big blow. I think having Judge Kobayashi is not particularly in our favor as well. So those that are, here we are fighting Red Hill, and our lawsuit is the Clean Water Act. Yeah, from all of the contamination from the 2021 and 2022 releases into Halava Stream and Pearl Harbor. And now, as we know, Lieutenant Commander Banks is our star witness and a former chair of the CRI. And knowing that her testimony now is going to be via affidavit really limits things, I believe. But anyway, I just wanted to let this body know of that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Tara?
Aloha. Just a quick one. I just wanted to say if what Marty had mentioned, if somehow we could do maybe a group or a mass, calling the DOH, we have to make sure that they do not reopen those tanks.
Yes.
So what can we do? How can we organize this to call upon the DOH? Because we cannot wait until it's already February, that's why, right? And it was supposed to be like February or March. Or was it March, April?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so I thought it was,
somehow do that. So in addition to,
Yeah, good. We'll have a strategy session on that.
Make sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Michelle.
Hi, I'm just relaying a question from Stephanie Wagner, who is online, and she was unable to put her question in the chat. Her question was about the $5,000 fine
that the Navy was supposed to pay for each meeting they never showed up to when they were supposed to be showing up here with us at the Red Hill CRI. She asks, does that balance they owe, was it never paid? Did it just go away? And then she says, how can they walk away with money, walk away from the money they owe to the CRI who authorized that? And does that have something to do with them walking away from all meetings now? Very good question, Stephanie. I would also like to know the answer to all of those questions.
All right, my understanding is, and Marty, correct me or add to this, they only fined them once, $5,000, and then the Navy appealed, and they dropped it. I don't believe a single cent has been collected by the EPA, and they just sort of dropped that whole thing, even though, it was part of the administrative consent order. Again, it's, they come up with these administrative consent orders, and then they don't even follow them, and they're the ones that came up with them. So it's just, tragic. Go ahead, Jamie.
I just wanted to say real quick, because I know this is going to be on Oleo. If anybody does experience issues with their water or are having symptoms such as rashes, shortness of breath, they say that it's eczema. You never had eczema before, heart palpitations, tremors or spasms. You think you drank too much coffee, but you really drank nothing more than you normally do, or caffeine. Or you see, Hawaii never had hard water. If you see spots or sheens or white stuff in your water, report it. And then when it comes to mental health, we've seen, or violence, we've seen an uptick in domestic violence on the island, and especially with military. It is known that the petroleum products or the contamination affects you neurologically, and it also affects you with aggression or suicide tendencies or depression. Please reach out, get help, report, reach out to people in the community, people such as CRI members that can steer you in the right direction, or domestic violence hotlines. This issue is very real. It's ongoing. We've lost too many military spouses recently, and there was also recent shootings right across from the military base. Not saying it's 100% correlated, but when there's too many coincidences, and I think that it's an issue that needs to be discussed or looked into, and people need to be reporting.
Thank you so much. Very important. Just very quickly, I did want to mention one of the other things we did for the December 16th meeting was we provided our questions ahead of time, like at least 2 weeks ahead of time, to the Navy, the DOH, and the EPA. So they could have people there to answer those questions. And the remaining questions, we gave them that they couldn't answer then, we gave them in writing. We got some some answers back, but a lot of I would say the EPA gave us some good substantive answers. The Navy, I counted 12 times where they used the same paragraph to answer a question that didn't really answer the question. It was just like a template of we're testing the water kind of thing. So just wanted to make that comment. And I'll go ahead for Chris and then Tara again.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention I'm not going anywhere. So the CRI is here. The CRI is going to keep meeting. And CRI is a great representation group. And I think we continue. And when they're back and forced to show up at the table, that's when we'll be there to welcome them and help them along in their path to clean up. So that is the goal. We all have the same goal to clean it all up. At least that one goal. There's more. But I'm just saying, not going anywhere. and I'll show up where I have to, whether that's Zoom or eventually in person in other ways. But it's still very much CRI. It's not, they didn't cancel CRI just because they don't want to show up.
Absolutely, absolutely. They don't get to cancel CRI. We're still here. We'll still be here for the community. We'll still be asking our questions. As Tara said, we'll just go to every, town hall, whatever, and we'll keep asking our questions and still advocate for the community. Go ahead, Tara. Just thumbs up. Okay. All right. I want to give one final. Anybody want to have final statements? Go ahead,
Yes,
Robert.
real quickly, Robert again. I want to just add that, with the tanks not being emptied and cleared and the stagnation that Marty talked about, norovirus could be definitely eminent in those tanks not being cleaned or emptied on a regular basis. Norovirus is not something you get in air conditioning. Well, you do, because it's water that lays stagnant at the bottom of the pan of an air conditioner on board ship or in a big building, and all the news that we've heard about norovirus. But my question is this, for the judge that's out there, Kobayashi, and all the rest of you that live here on the island, I know that you're going by the letter of the law, and that's fine and dandy. But I want you to keep in mind one thing. If your child was going to school and drinking the water from that well, or all the water that's going into our bay, or the ahi, or the mahi, or all the fish that we might be consuming on land here in Hawaii, would you feel good about your child getting sick and almost dying from this? This is not just something directed at a few people or a group, military. This affects all of us living here in Hawaii. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay, well, just a reminder, we will be back next month. We'll be here every month. We will continue to gather community questions, to advocate for our community, to keep the pressure on the Navy to come back to the table. We did everything we could, gave them questions ahead of time, had a trauma-informed facilitator, everything we could, and apparently it wasn't good enough for them. And we put our community first, not Navy protocol, not Navy decorum, which is two terms they use that we weren't following their protocol or their decorum, which is ridiculous because they were the ones that poisoned our water and traumatized an entire community, physically, mentally, every single way. So again, community comes first. That is why the CRI is here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here. And I see Bill has his hand up. We have a few more minutes, so go ahead.
Yes. I had wanted to find out if we had heard back anything from Amy Miller at the EPA, because when we had our last Zoom meeting, I made a demand that we have another meeting face-to-face with the Navy.
Thank you for reminding. So she did email the new admiral, telling him that exactly that was our desire, and I have heard nothing back from the Navy or the EPA.
We're not surprised.
Yeah. Same continuing pattern. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Amy from the EPA did send that email, at least, and no reply. Crickets. Just crickets or geckos. All right. Any last comments from anybody live or on Zoom? Thank you all so much. I see we had a really good crowd here on Zoom, and I'm thankful for each one of you. And, this just goes to show the Navy says that, they're not, that we didn't have, good attendance, or that it's not a good way to build trust, or it just flies in the face of that excuse for them not meeting with us. And I see one more hand, Melody.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chair. What I was going to say is that we're supposed to hear back from the EPA's attorney regarding I guess, the justification of excluding us altogether excluding the Navy from having, or excusing the Navy from having to attend the CRI meetings. So we wanted to know the legality of that decision that Amy Miller made. And she said it was approved by their attorneys. So just wondering if we did hear anything from the EPA attorneys who is no longer Justin or Dusty, I guess. Dusty.
Right, we have a new name. We can contact him. Amy has told me that it's attorney-client privilege for anything that transpired between them, so I don't know how far we'll get with that, but that may be an avenue we want to pursue. So thank you. And Ms. Shell.
Aloha. So, I had a thought of, wow, it sure seems that despite the progress that we made over the last year, it seems we've gone back to being treated like an adversary because we have questions. Even if we changed everyone out on the board that Navy did not like, we had new people, the same questions would remain. And I know we're dealing with an organization that is, well, Department of War. They changed their name to the Department of War. It feels like they are at war with us, and we represent the public. They cannot be at war with those that they have sworn to protect, which includes themselves because they drink the water too. So I just urge all of the government agencies that are involved, all the people who are involved, just to realize that we are all on Team Human, and
Yes.
needs clean vi. And vi means wealth. And if we don't have clean vi, we have no vi, we have no wealth.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. And I feel like our relationship at this point with the Navy, we've done everything we could. And yeah, it started out pretty rocky, but understandably so for what they perpetrated against us. And we're talking about the leadership, right? We're not talking about everyday folks in the military. We're talking about the leadership. And it has become an abusive relationship. We bend over backwards. We do everything. And they keep slapping us around. So I will go to Bill and then Jamie, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yes, I was just constantly amazed at the amount of testosterone sort of wafting around the room. I mean, they have no, at least in my experience, there have been no women officers representing. It's all men, all macho men that think they're tough, lethal, part of the new lethal excess military. They can't even handle us. Oh, we're not going to be much use internationally if they can't even work with their own people. So I'm ashamed of our military at this point. Sorry, but thank you.
Thank you.
Bill,
And
I would
Jamie.
like to state for the record that I am a female officer.
Yes, absolutely.
I was, but
Bill, I'm just giving you a hard time.
you're one of us. You're on your side of the table.
And go ahead, Jamie, and then we'll wrap up.
Oh,
And thank you, Mandy.
Sorry, I was just going to update. When we were notified by the EPA, we brought up the AMR news story. I believe it was AMR, All-in-One Elementary School with the rashes breaking out. Amy did say that she was going to get back to me. She did get back to me. Same narrative as always. They did testing, came back within acceptable levels, no issue. there was only 2 cases being reported. I don't know if that's accurate. I asked where we could get the water reports from the testing, and if we could receive them, and any pertinent information confirming what she was saying, and radio silence. Never heard back from
Oh,
her.
shame. Thank you for that update. And again, that was a series of children who had eczema at an elementary school. That's on the Navy waterline, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for following up on that. We'll keep following up. That's all we can do. I do want to thank Olelo and again the WCCC women. You all work together so well. This is the best venue. The technology works every time here. We've been at other venues and it hasn't worked so well. So we really appreciate all the work that you do for us and everything that you do. Thank you so very much. And I think, I have one more, Chris, one more, and then we'll have to wrap it up.
I'm so very proud that we handle all these things for free. You guys are all amazing to help you volunteer and all the volunteers be on the CRI at the table. I appreciate everybody, and I wish FTAC could learn a thing here.
Yes, they told us, we're wrapping it up. The FTAC told us they spend $20,000 on each meeting. And it just goes to show you we have the power of the community because we do it for virtually nothing and because we're a community. And so that's why community is priceless and more powerful than the forces that are trying to silence us. Mahalo.
I just want to thank you, Susan. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Mahalo.
Thanks.
Thank you.